Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to a guide to understanding Virtua Fighter from the perspective of someone who has experience in the game, but someone who also hasn't really ever sat down and tried to become better at the game, in a serious manner at least. Now, it is important to put things into context. I've personally been a 3D fighting game player for most of my time in the FGC, so I already have an understanding of various aspects associated with a game like VF. However, the focus of this guide is going to be on how to approach Virtua Fighter from more of a mentality and functional standpoint. Very simple concepts that, regardless if you play 2D games or anime games, platform fighters, etc., you will be able to understand. With that being said, here are 5 basic rules that I feel are pretty unique to VF, and that will help you in your journey to learning the game, in case you're as excited for the future of Virtua Fighter as I am. For starters, rule number 1 I feel is something that is fairly well known about Virtua Fighter, so much so that it has become a little bit of a meme in the community, and that is of course number 1. Every character is a grappler. One of the basic things to understand in a game like VF is that throws are an essential aspect of the game more so than other fighting games. They are a part of your neutral, they are mix-ups, they can give combo opportunities, and they can even be used defensively in some situations. Some high-level players would go as far as to say that a character's throws are more important to their general strategy than even some key moves in a character's toolkit. This comes as a result of frame data and values for the throw game being pretty homogeneous between the entire cast, only with a few exceptions. Most throws in the game have 10 frames of startup and will leave you at -6 when broken. So, if you come from other 3D fighting games, there's no wide margin of how fast throws can be and what situations they can lead to. Regardless of your character choice, you will have to incorporate a heavy emphasis on your throw game in order to be able to perform at a high level in Virtua Fighter. Interactions in VF can be pretty volatile, and momentum shifts are constant, which is a perfect segue into the next rule. Number 2. In Virtua Fighter, you are never at advantage. Of course, when talking about this, I'm using a certain degree of hyperbole. I'm not saying it's never your turn, and that there aren't situations where you can limit the options your opponent has on defense. However, VF is a game where decision making is constant and with many variables directly influenced by both players, not just by whoever is attacking and vice versa. This is in part because of VF's movement system, which provides you with a wealth of options such as sidesteps, backdashes, crouch and backdashes, sidestep cancel into backdash, sidestep cancel into fuzzies. So, let me level with you for a sec.
Electrical engineering is pretty smart. General relativity, it's pretty fucking smart.
Virtua Fighter's movement system.
Fucking genius!
Think of it this way. Whenever you do a safe move on your opponent's block, both players have a wide selection of options that have a cause and effect. The more disadvantaged you're at, the more these options diminish, but it doesn't mean they stop existing completely. So as long as you're not actually unsafe, there's always something you can do to mitigate the inherent rock, paper, scissors nature of the game. One of the things I've come to appreciate about Virtua Fighter is that the concept of set play is not as prevalent as it is in modern fighting games. You can of course pressure the opponent and force your strategy on them, but all it takes is one correct read to turn things around and increase your chances of winning. But to reiterate, this process is constant, and it can lead to those cool moments where both players are constantly reading each other, fighting for the upper hand. This next rule is a lot more simple, but like everything Virtua Fighter, it also comes with a lot of nuance, while being an opinion often echoed through the more notable and skilled players in the community. Number 3. Matchups don't exist in Virtua Fighter. This is of course also an over-exaggeration of the subject in question, but there is a certain level of validity to this claim. Character strength exists, and incompatibility between certain members of the roster also exists. The Virtua Fighter is a game where adaptation and pattern recognition is key. This is true for most fighting games as well. However, taking the previous rule into consideration, this requirement for adapting is much more prevalent and necessary in Virtua Fighter, because the game asks you to do it far more frequently. There's a reason why top-level players in VF commonly say,
So it's a good thing that you're playing just by what do you call it, reaction and just intuition and gut feeling, because that's really important in this game, right? I mentioned it before, but at the high level, when you play this game, you're playing against the player. You're not playing against the character, right?
Yes, I just said that, bro. That's crazy. Yo, Stream, didn't I just fucking, bro, what you just said, I literally said, I'm like, yes, it's not really about the character you're fighting against. It's because of the way the system is. It's like, you're fighting against this player and how much of an asshole he's going to be. You know what I mean? That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
How much of an asshole are you willing to be in this game? Are you willing to get up and do a 30-frame launcher? Like, are you willing to do that? Because, like, that's kind of how this game is, you know?
so like in every other competitive game, tier lists exist. But at least in the current iteration of VF, these tiers are not as important and every character is viable with varying levels of difficulty. Utilizing the game's core mechanics and recognizing the flaws in your opponent's game plan are the principles of high-level Virtua Fighter. This next one could be the most controversial part of the video, and kind of doubles up as a suggestion and a personal hope for VF6. Like everything else discussed in this guide, this next rule should be taken at face value and used to form your own approach to learning Virtua Fighter while having a little more understanding of the game as a whole. With that being said, number 4. You should not learn how to stagger. For context, Dead or Alive has always been my main fighting game franchise, and being the most similar in gameplay to BF, we also had stagger escaping. Regardless of your opinion of the latest installment, the OA6, one change that was accepted and praised in that game was the removal of stagger escaping. In my eyes, staggering has always been an artificial layer of complexity in both VF and DOA, a remnant of the bygone arcade era where mechanics like these were commonplace. I admit it can offer a degree of skill gap when it comes to reactions and timing, but with how many situations of stagger there are, with how punishing it can be, and with the prevalence of online play in modern fighting games, to me staggers would only bring frustration and poor readability of the game state. I think recent events serve to prove my point as well.
Years in can stagger it. Stagger it again!
Oh my god.
My god. Damn. We're back at the Salem trials. What the fuck is happening? Change the stage! Change the stage! Hiya, change the fucking stage!
We're back at the Salem witch trials. What is happening?
Now, if you absolutely want to become an advanced player in VF, stagger is a must. But like I said, it is my hope VF6 streamlines or just straight up removes this mechanic. Personally, I wouldn't put too much effort into improving at staggering in VF5. And if you want to save some money on stick replacements and spare controllers, maybe you should follow my advice. And the best for last. With everything previously talked about and explained, do you think Virtua Fighter is the perfect fighting game in the absolute peak of the genre? Which in some regards it might be, but... Number 5. Virtua Fighter is not an honest game. This may come as a little bit of a surprise. It may even contradict some of the things presented in this video. But the reality of things is that it's easy to look at VF as this holy grail of fighting game prowess, completely pure and balanced, when it does have a few flaws in its system and some very antiquated design choices. There's plenty of grime and cheapness every character has, and it can be knowledge check hell when you keep finding so many layers of things to learn and memorize. I mean, who hasn't been robbed by a ring out after playing out of your mind because you didn't break a throw, or made the wrong guess and ate a 60% damage combo because of it? Dude, if I don't just start moving, I can't do anything about that. I can't step it. Oh, I died. No. Imagine.
Oh, can you win? I went down. Motherfucker.
Oh, I actually won. No way. Let's go.
I landed on the ground first. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's important to be aware that these things will happen and that there will be times where you don't agree with a character's move or a certain stage interaction. But these cases will be way more far in between than other fighting games because at the end of the day, the result of matches and your overall experience will in large be a result of your own skill as a player. That being said, if you play Leon, we cannot be friends. I don't make the rules, that's just the way it is. Seriously, brother, fuck that character. So there you have it. I hope you got some value out of this guide, and it helped you understand Virtua Fighter from a different perspective. These are just some of my observations from interacting and learning from high-level players, and I think we are all excited for the future of this franchise. As a huge Yakuza fan, VF6 looks amazing even in its conceptual stage. In the meantime, we'll still have an amazing game to learn with a seemingly infinite amount of depth, so better get to work while we wait for the new game. Now, as a certain monkey enthusiast would say, go out and play some Virtua Fighter. Thanks for watching.